Good morning, biology students. Happy Monday. Today we are starting a new unit. It's all about DNA. So to kick off this unit, you are going to make a DNA model. Now, fortunately, you have several steps that you are going to follow. This is a 2-day lab. And in this lab, you're going to walk through a specific process that is just as important as the actual outcome of the model you make. You see, DNA is made in a specific way in our cells, and parts of this lab model that way. So it's really important to follow the directions regarding how you're building the model. It's similar to how the cells build their DNA molecules. So, with that being said, I wanted to mention a few things regarding some of the documents you're going to use for this 2-day lab. First of all, what you see on my screen are the directions. Please follow these carefully that help you with that process of building the molecule. But then also, because this is a distance learning lab, there are some tricky things that you will need as we go along. In terms of the required materials, we can be very creative, but I do want to show you this page, which is one of the documents uploaded to Google Classroom. This is the paper model parts you're going to use. Now, there are lots of things that you can do in terms of getting yourself ready for the lab. If you have a printer, awesome, print this, and then you can use this paper directly. If you don't, you could decide to either draw them, so you will need as many pieces that are on this screen for the lab, including the words and these little markings, or you can actually just put a piece of paper up against the screen and then trace those. And that's actually kind of easy. Make sure you put the words again. And one specific thing about this deoxyribose sugar is include that circle. So make this a full pentagon every time that you draw it. You actually need that there in terms of, just for part of the building process. So sometimes because this has a little notch in it, kids have a tendency to cut that out, and I can see why we think that might be the case, but keep that included when you're taking a look at these pieces. And then the other piece here are the analysis questions that go with this. So I'll flip you to that screen. Each student is going to answer these analysis questions, and there are a few places in these questions where I would like you to take a picture of the model you've made so far and then embed that in this document. And so this analysis questions sheet and the answer and the directions for the lab go hand in hand. It's really important that as you're reading the directions, you see, okay, now I'm going to bump over and answer these questions during this specific section of the lab. This is when I'm going to go and insert a picture. And so the directions tell you that. It's really important that you follow those directions. Another hint I would like to give you is that there is a point in time when the directions tell you to turn your paper upside down. So obviously I don't have any part of the model built yet. But when I look at my DNA parts page, when you're asked to turn your model so far upside down, flip it so the words are upside down, not so that you can't see any of your coloring or any of the writing on the words that you have. Okay, so if that makes sense. So here I have a post-it of notes. If I'm going to flip it upside down, I'd flip it upside down like this. Okay. If you have any questions while you're working, double check back. Please go back to that direction sheet. As usual, reach out either via Google Classroom or reach out on via email if you have questions. Again, there's a short survey today to take, but then this is a 2-day lab. So you have a little bit of time to be able to build your very own DNA molecule. Have fun.